From Rapid City, South Dakota to California, back to Rapid City, Mark Falcon had no real path in mind. But thanks to plumbing, he found his way and met his wife. I'm Craig Morgan, and this is American Plumber Stories.
Some days I'm working before the sun kisses the sky. I watch the world wake up from the seat of my truck. I'm out here earning my piece of the pie. A good honest buck, no it ain't love. I was taught to do the things I do so I don't depend on anyone. I work hard enough through the years so I play whenever I want. I have more than I deserve, including a wife who says I'm hot. Yeah, it's better than a good life that I got.
High school for me was rough. I showed up, memorized whatever I had to memorize in school to get by and learn as much as I could and get in and out of there as fast as I could. About the third year that I was in high school, I found out that you can leave and nobody can do very much to you. So I was still maintaining good grades, but I would leave high school, barely ever show up. I started getting into a lot of partying and, just ditching class and not showing up. I did make it through though. So I signed up with a college that's here in Rapid City, and I made about 2 days before I dropped out. And I just remember thinking, I have no idea what I want to do. All the pressure of being successful and going to college and all this stuff was facing me, but yet I couldn't fake it anymore. I was at the end of my rope, and I was just in a jumping off point. I had no idea what to do with myself. I found a friend in Southern California that would allow me to basically rent a room for cheap. Went down there to try something different. I ended up taking a job at a local hardware store. I got a phone call that they were gonna put me in plumbing because somebody had quit. I was pretty upset because I knew, the plumbing department was where nobody wanted to be at that point. And there was a career plumber that was working in the plumbing department there. And he kind of took me under his wing. He showed me how to cut and thread pipe. The first time that I realized that plumbing was for me was a job that he took me out on. And I just remember, this is literally what I make in a whole week at the hardware store. So I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go get a job at a plumbing company. Literally within a day, I had a job lined up in Los Angeles doing new construction plumbing in Venice Beach. Unbelievable for a kid from small town South Dakota, rural, just beautiful. One day I got a call down to the Beachcomber, it's a restaurant out on the pier in Malibu. It was just like any other day. I walked up and there was a beautiful hostess.
He walked onto the pier and I was like, okay, this guy's kind of cute. And then I found out he was the plumber. I was like, oh, geez. I mean, I just, think of a plumber and I'm like, gross, unclogging toilets. I didn't really know any plumbers.
Of course, it was a nasty, disgusting one, so I felt a little embarrassed or something, but.
He came out and started talking to me, and he said, well, I'm all done here, and I think I should just get your number because if anything goes wrong, and obviously I was like, that's dumb. That doesn't even make sense. But I gave it to him anyway.
Oh my, you got that hotter than the summertime in July, time magic, and I got to have it.
Our first date was at the Santa Monica Pier. We went up on the Ferris wheel.
I just knew there was something about him that I was like, yeah, this is something.
And then we ended up years down the road getting married. So my trade provided, my entire life, and now it provided me a wife. As we were in LA, we were trying to figure out what we would do as far as a house and what a family would look like down the road, that kind of stuff. It seemed like it would be a better fit for us to move back to Rapid City and get back in the community there. So we moved back and started going after a plumbing license and stuff back home.
When we first started Loyal Plumbing, our house was the office. Yeah, we had like naked kids running around in diapers every morning. And yeah, we had our spare bedroom that was dedicated to Loyal. And that's where the guys would meet every morning. Mark and I were in this together every day. I would answer the phones. I'd schedule the appointments. I would dispatch him when it was just Mark. And then we hired Jeff was our first employee. And then I dispatched the two of them.
Plumbing allowed me once again to pursue another interest, which was the fire department here. And when I was at the fire department, I had to hire another plumber to kind of take over stuff when I was at the fire department.
I was really nervous to hire somebody. I was like, there's no way, like we're not gonna have enough work. Do you know how much workers' comp costs? Mark is just, he has so much faith. It's gonna work out, and it did. And Jeff was amazing, and he went out. I'd send him calls every day. It was him and I for a long time. Mark was part-time at the fire department. And so Jeff and I got to have a really good relationship, and then it just grew from there. He put up with my kids running around, and he's just, you know, a hard worker.
Fire department here. It was an amazing job, probably the best job that I've had as far as just getting to really serve a purpose. I was a firefighter and EMT, so I'd ride the ambulance all night and day for 24, 48 hours, and then we'd go fight fires. Yeah, I really love the fire department. I love what they do, and you know, giving back to the community at that level is something that I always want to be involved in for the rest of my life.
But when Loyal started getting really busy, I know we had to make a decision whether he wanted to be a firefighter or a plumber.
When I was at the fire department, I had to hire another plumber to kind of take over stuff when no longer just getting work done, but also getting work became, you know, my life.
I'm Jeff Moles, co-owner of Loyal Plumbing, Rapid City, South Dakota. I've been plumbing for a little over 10 years. I was the very first employee for Loyal Plumbing.
So he's somebody that came on when I got in the fire department. I needed that individual to kind of run the day-to-day and just make sure things were getting done. And he was out in the field plumbing while I was at the fire department. He's been crucial in building the business because he's always been steady at coming in, getting work done, training guys, estimating. He's just kind of done and worn every hat as we've grown.
Mark and I worked at a different plumbing company. Always kept in touch. We'd go fishing, do stuff like that. I ran into him one day at a supply house, and I wasn't very happy with where I was working. I chatted with him and I said, if you really want to get going with this, let's join up. We talked for about 3 or 4 months, and I talked over with the wife and tried to make a decision. She said, let's go for it. The rest is kind of history. It was Mark and I working out of a spare bedroom in his house. That was our office. We got greeted by his kids every morning when I'd come over to get going, and hired a few more people after that. So I played golf all through high school, and I ended up moving to Arizona for 3 years, and I actually went to a golf school.
He was in tournaments, and he was a pro at a club in Arizona. He's a plumber now, full-fledged plumbing contractor, owner.
I needed something that wasn't a seasonal job, and my wife and I were expecting our first child, and I applied to be an apprentice plumber. And my wife looked at me like I was crazy. She goes, "You're gonna be a plumber?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" I stuck with it. I love it. It's a passion for me now. I do love actually plumbing. I couldn't imagine doing anything else right now. $100, I can make it in that bucket.
What bucket?
The bucket way down there.
You're on.
All right, let's do this.
Move! Get out of the way!
Get out of the way!
Did it clear?
Yes!
Here at Loyal, we've got quite a band of misfits working together. But another misfit that we have here would be Jeremy. Jeremy Davis is about a 12-year, 13-year plumber. He's been kind of a roughneck plumber. He's a lot of DWV, and he's good at what he does.
He's been everywhere in the company. He's been a service plumber. He's been a new construction plumber. Technically, third hire. Probably the nicest guy you'll ever meet. You look at him, you see this pretty big guy. He could be intimidating, but tell you what, probably the first thing he'll ever do to you is give you a hug.
Show me how to do this.
Oh God, don't hurt my driver.
Mark, you owe him a new club.
Jeremy Davis is one of many Native Americans in this community, and he's definitely a light. He has overcome a ton of stuff, and he's thriving in work and life today.
Today we're gonna go back to where I grew up, the Rosebud Indian Reservation, where my starting point was as a 15-year-old plumber. You know, it wasn't easy, but it's a simple life. Even though the reservation, it's poverty-stricken, the opportunities are few and far between. I don't see it as that. I don't see it as, oh, we were poor, because we had food, we had shelter, we had happiness. I actually left the reservation when I was 19 years old. It was bad for me. I had no vision, had no plan, living day by day, you know, just surviving. And I was actually in jail, and my family moved. They weren't having it anymore. Well, I got out of jail and my family wasn't there, and I realized what it's like to not have your family. And it was make a choice. You're either gonna do good, come with us, or you're gonna continue doing what you're doing and stay where you're at. I didn't want to stay where I was at. I knew there was more out there that I can take and learn and bring back to the reservation. My goal is to teach a lot of these guys and give them the opportunity, give them that firepower, that ammunition, you know, to get off. And the reservation's no different than any other poverty-stricken area in the US or in the world. What plumbing has done for me is it opened up those doors. That used to be the job training program called JTPA. And they would have a summer youth work program, and that's where I got started with the Rosebud Water and Sewer. Never knew that, never thought it would be my calling, you know. But you went into that building, you signed some stuff, and came out and went to work 45 hours a week. We weren't even old enough to drive cars, but we were driving backhoes and all that stuff, digging up sewer lines and water lines, and it taught us. Now I take that, what I learned from that, you know, it's underground piping, but I take that and, I mean, every time I'm digging outside a house, I remember that. I remember the words that they would say, dig this way, don't do this, don't do that, put your guards up, you know? And it echoes through your head, it sticks with you. My advice for a youngster growing up on the reservation, dealing with the same stuff I did 20 years ago, would be don't give up. Find a trade. If you're not cut out for college, if you're not cut out for a master's degree or anything like that, find a trade. Find something you like to do. Find a job you like. Plumbing showed me that I can make it. I can succeed. And I want you guys to take that knowledge and know that you can succeed also. Nothing's given to you. You have to earn it. This is my house I grew up in right here. This cedar tree right here was actually given to me in the 4th grade by the governor of South Dakota. I was always told it's gonna die. It's not ever gonna make it. I realized, you know, of all the stuff that goes on around it, it's still gonna grow. It's still gonna carry on. This tree has held many tears, many laughs, a lot of emotions. All these trees, these pine trees, they were only this big, you know? And this was our fortress. This is where we played. That hill up there was our sledding hill. We didn't need anything. This was it. It's not a success story to leave something like this, you know? Leaving this isn't a success story. Being able to come back to it is. It feels weird I haven't been back here on this ground in over 23 years. This is the first time I've came back here with you guys. I've driven by so many times, but I've never actually stopped and just got to enjoy a little bit of it. I think my success story is being able to come back here and make that little bit of change, maybe to 1 or 2 individuals, you know, but those individuals can turn around and give that knowledge back. You know, that's a success story to me.
Yeah, I believe right now we're on our 4th office, and that's a building we bought about a year ago. We're still getting it set up, getting everything moved in that we need, getting it organized, functional, but it's been a blessing. I'd encourage anybody to go into trades right now. Trade school, on the job, go be an apprentice somewhere. Find something that you love to do. You don't need to go to college to have a successful career. I went to college twice. I don't use a single one of my degrees, and I don't expect to. I love my job. I would recommend it for anybody. A career in the trades, especially plumbing or any of those, gives you the means to go out and go camping, go boating, go golfing, go pursue anything that you want to do because you have the means to do it.
And every one of these guys is gonna turn around and teach somebody. I love driving around this area and saying to my daughters, this is what we built. This is gonna be here forever, you know? I'm doing something positive with my life. That for me is richness. That's the success story, to see us being able to carry on our trade. In 20 years, it's gonna be great when they come up to me and they say, hey, thanks.
Plumbing is the reason Mark and I met. You know, if you would have asked me at 18 when I met Mark, was I going to own a plumbing company? I would have probably told you no. And plumbing brought us together. Plumbing provides for my children. Plumbing is everything to us. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's been amazing.
In a lot of ways, I relate plumbing to my spiritual life. You know, I think that plumbing and God is a constant. Plumbing has just always been there for me. For me, it's been a mentor. It's been like a father almost, you know. It's taught me how to relate to people. It's taught me how to be a good employee, to be a good dad, to be a good husband. It's taught me to have a heart for people, to be forgiving. You know, it's taught me everything.
I'm Craig Morgan, and you've been watching American Plumber Stories. Be sure to go to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button and check out all of our other socials. It's American Plumber Stories.